Hi, my name is Rachelle Smith, entrepreneur, professional speaker, and author. Last time I talked about the power of mistakes and how important it is for us to leverage the power of mistakes to become better people, to learn the lessons that we need to learn. This time I actually want to quickly highlight the importance of something that I mentioned in one of those episodes, and that is the importance of body language. Folks, body language is so important because communication, it happens verbally in terms of what we say, but it also happens to a large extent non-verbally. All right, so the signals, the cues that we send off and that other folks send off consciously or unconsciously that communicate how they truly feel. Now, it's so important in any arena of life, whether it be your relationships, in the workplace, in gyms, or any type of fitness arena. Basically, everywhere there are human beings, nonverbal communication and body language is going to be so important. And as I mentioned, I spent a number of years in sales, and so body language is something I had to learn and had to master because there would be situations, just daily, when you're dealing with people and we're dealing with fast-paced environments and you're walking in, you don't quite know what to expect. You have to be able to read people's body language. Okay, does a person seem happy? What type of cues are they giving off? Do they look busy? Do they look irritated? Are they upset in some way? Are they sad? And that's not something we can't, especially in sales, you can't sit around and wait for someone to tell you those things. Human beings clearly give off signals, and if you know how to read those signals, you will save yourself a lot of time, a lot of effort, and everything else, and just make things much smoother if you're able to read other people's body language. Because, we all do it. Okay, if someone is saying, oh, you are so awesome, you're just so great, and their face is all scrunched up when they're saying it, okay, their nonverbal communication is contradicting their verbal communication. And folks, I'm a firm believer that body language does not lie. Okay, the truth comes out when it comes to body language. And a couple of you actually reached out to me after that second Power of Mistakes episode and said, Rachelle, how did you know? How did you know in terms of, when you were dealing with this guy and in the gym situation, and then also too, kind of how they handled it, and how did you piece together that kind of what their strategy was of kind of having other people watch you and follow you, that kind of stuff. And so for me is, again, it's just sales. It's just knowing how to read situations. All right. And just a quick example, like for instance, in terms of kind of knowing kind of the extra people, the relatives and those type of people. Okay. So I'd come in, get on an elliptical machine. Okay. And then the aisle is right here. And then all the traditional weight machine areas are all on this side. So if I'm here on this elliptical machine, and then there's some weight machines right up here towards the front, and here's the door as you come in. All right, so if that guy was anywhere in this remote area, and as I mentioned, it's in one of those two individuals who I mentioned, I don't even know what their names are, but basically, I know they're some way related to the leadership of the gym. And so, one of them would look up and see that yellow hat. And their body language would reflect it. It was just so obvious, and you could tell, and that's how I figured out very quickly, is the reaction upon seeing him, and then all of a sudden, perhaps get on a machine close to me, or get on a machine that was in front of me, and then when, in terms of doing a set, one of them would do a set, and then finish the set, get up, and thought they were kind of inconspicuously turning around and looking at me. And I'm picking up because, again, no one has to say a word to me. I've got to, in any situation, for personal safety, but just in any situation, I'm just very always in tune to body language, what people say, what people are saying and doing. And so that's kind of how I pieced up on that, and in terms of grandpa, and this is, let me be honest with you, right here in this Novi gym, and my body language is very different when I'm at Louisiana at my gym at Bel Air Fitness. Very different facility there, very different clientele. The etiquette is just off the charts. I'll talk about that in a future episode, but just different types of people. And so at this particular gym, I have to work hard to maintain my focus. And I will tell you emphatically, it is incredibly hard to follow me in my gym here in Novi. Incredibly hard. Okay, because my workout changes daily. All right, the time I spend on different machines, the time that I spend in the gym. That's just part of my personality where I like variety and I like change like that. But it's incredibly hard because I'm all over the place. I do a lot of cardio, and I'm moving from machine to machine, and even weight machines, machine to machine. And I'm going into the basketball court on some days, twirling the baton, dancing, jumping rope, doing speed ladder. So all that extra stuff I do in the basketball court area. But interestingly enough, that basketball court area is always kind of a red, it tends to be kind of a red flag, because, you know, guys will tend to come in there and I'll just kind of think sometimes, I mean, it's very obvious who has basketball skills, who doesn't, who's serious in there, who's practicing, who's doing drills, who's played before. I mean, I can watch you dribble for 5 seconds, or I don't even have to watch you. You could be behind me, come in one of the doors behind me, and I can listen to the dribble, you know, over my headphones, and I can tell, like, this person is serious or whatever. But the guys who come in there and it's whole, you know, I'm going to take this ball and throw it up against the backboard like this, or I'm just going to stay up in here and shoot air balls for 3 minutes and then leave because I've embarrassed myself, you know, whatever. But that, I just, you know, young guy, like I told you, the 17, 18-year-old guy filming me in there, and I had to shut him down. So, but anyway, so it is what it is. And so that kind of, when someone follows me repeatedly, because my time for going in there, in terms of when I actually go in there to do those things, changes. Okay, it's never the same. And so when I'm constantly changing and I'm constantly looking up, and there's a guy coming in there, you know, and my times in going in there are different. Okay, makes you kind of say, like Arsenio Hall used to say, makes you things that make you say, all right, so that, okay, all right. Well, this is a pattern here. This is a pattern. All right, so it's that type of stuff. And okay, I'm sprinting on the track, and here's, as my mom calls them, you know, grandpa stalkers on one of the machines next to the track, you know, towards the back, one of the stair climbers. Then I'm leaving, going over here, and then all of a sudden I see, you know what I'm saying? It's just, you know, you see that bright yellow hat, and it just, for somebody to be like 70 years old, you're like, what in the world is going on? I'm a very hard person to keep up with, all right, in a fitness facility. I mean, you have to be really, you know, I say this humbly, but you have to be really fit. You have to love cardio, because I have a lot of stamina and endurance, and I can go a long time athletically and fitness speaking. And so it's very obvious when someone is trying to keep up, and when they do that, they're repeatedly ending up in the same area as me after I end up there. You know what I'm saying? So it tends to be very obvious. So that's how I was able to piece that. And I have different ways, as I mentioned in that episode, different ways of handling things. So I will either, if somebody does that, and I've done that a few times, ironically, with as my mom calls him, Grandpa Stalker, I had done that. You know, leave. You know, I would be in there twirling. Sometimes it wouldn't even been that long, but I would leave. People get that instantly, you know, where I'll be on a cardio machine. I hate being interrupted on cardio and stretching now. And somebody will get on a machine next to me, and I'm like, what in the world? There's all these different machines, and then some guy gets on the machine next to me, and I can read, again, the body language, what's going on here. Is this guy getting ready to hit on me? I've been in gyms for 22 years, folks. Behavior does not change. And so I will literally, if I have zero interest in talking to the person, and zero, which is basically on a cardio machine all the time, I will get up from that machine and go on an entirely different machine away from that person. We'll never have another issue with that person again. So it's that kind of stuff. Or I will look. I will give you a glare. I will give you an undoubted look where you clearly know what I'm communicating. You know, or as I alluded to also in the other episode, someone, you know, some guy will come up to me, you know, some middle-aged man, whatever. There's really no reason for us to be, you know, whatever. I'm not a talker when I'm in the gym, so don't come to me and make some stupid comment about LSU or about my appearance. I don't have time for that, okay? And so person will get about this close to me, and then I'll turn my back. You know, and I'm trying to help the person save face, because again, non-verbally, that's better than me having to shut you down, okay? Because I realize when I shut people down, and I've had to do that on a number of occasions, in most cases, I never see the person ever again. You know, and I'm sweet when I do it, and I'm kind, and I'm thoughtful, because I hate hurting people's feelings, but I'm very assertive in terms of communicating, like, you're interrupting me, or leave me alone, like when I'm in there twirling, you know, why this one guy interrupted me, like, what's wrong with you? Leave me alone. You know, I was stretching one time. I love stretching with my head down. That's why it's very important that we read body signals, okay? If my head is down like this, and I'm stretching with my headphones in, then that means I don't want to be bothered. It's very clear. Then this guy comes up, taps me on the shoulder, interrupts me while I'm stretching to compliment me. And I said, you know what? Thank you. Thank you so much. But for future reference, don't ever interrupt me when I'm stretching again, okay? So all gyms prior, never had to say a word like this to any of them. Barksdale Air Force Base was my first gym from 94 to 98. Loved that facility. And I had two nicknames. One of them was TV for tunnel vision because I tend to be very focused. The other was Brick House. Okay, so I've been through a lot, but I never in a million years would never think to have to, report anyone to any guy to the police and have somebody not leave me alone and this type of stuff. All right, but it's all body language. So I try to be nice. I try to help a person save face. There are different things that I can do, but it all starts non-verbally. But then when that doesn't work, that's when I will tell you, right up, I will tell you, honestly, right to your face and let you know, like, hey, you are a pervert stalker. 3 times. Didn't make a bit of difference. But then that's when it moved up to the next level, to escalate, the front desk. Then, ultimately to the police department, let them handle it. So I have different stages. And so, like I said, I'm a very hard person to follow in the gym. And so it's incredibly obvious to me when someone is trying to do it. Okay, one guy did it, never forget, July 2014. Guy was, I'm on different machines and he's trailing me. Okay, then I get on the adjustable pulley, as you've heard me say in that assertiveness episode. Oh my gosh, if there's any machine in the last 22 years that more people have interrupted me on, that is it. That is the machine. So I'm on the adjustable pulley and he comes up to me and starts trying to hit on me. And I'm like, again, body language, dude. We are not, I have zero interest in talking to you. So I had to shut him down. And so I know, like, part of that, when people are trailing you like that, that's exactly what happens. All right. And so it's incredibly important that we read body language, that we understand and respond to body language, and know that, we are sending signals and cues, and we need to be able to read other people's signals and cues. And hey, like I said, military gyms, all of my gyms, men are going to look, men are going to compliment, men are going to be men, and I love men. Men are wonderful. And so I have no problem with that. Sometimes I'll be twirling, there'll be a guy sitting out on one of the weight benches, just sitting there like this. I have no problem with that. Okay, that's watching. This is a free country. This is a free world. This is a public place. You sitting there doing that is no different than me being on stage speaking, looking just like that. I have no problem with that. Okay, anybody can look all they want at me or anybody else. Okay, it's a free country. But the problem is when people start tracking me, following me all over the gym. I mean, it's very obvious. It's incredibly creepy. And somebody who's clearly mentally ill, mentally unstable, is more prone to do something like that. They can't read signals, or when you tell them verbally, they refuse to listen. They refuse to respect your boundaries and empathize with how they're making you feel. So know that, all right? We're giving verbal cues. We're giving nonverbal cues. It's incredibly important that we need to be able to do so, all right? Because I'm the friendliest person in the world. I'm sweet. I'm kind outside of the gym, but I also am in the gym, okay? There's a few people I talk to. Most of them I knew from ballet. But they all know, okay, Rachelle, if you're in a position to say, hey, Rachelle, you know my name, interrupt me at any point. Okay, my body language is going to instantly free up and I'm going to pull out my headphones. No problem, all right? But just this random, just conversing without knowing names and just, wasting time, I don't have time for that. Anybody who in there or any gym who's serious is not going to have time for that. So just recognize how important body language is, respect, and really kind of pay attention to other people's body language, but also, too, make sure that you're giving off appropriate signals that truly reflect how you feel in any given situation, because body language does not lie. You can be sweet, you can be kind verbally, but your body language will always, 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 always give you away. So continue to learn and grow and make sure that body language is something you're really, really aiming to improve and learn more about. So thanks so much for your time. Make it a wonderful day.